Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I would like to share with you all an unboxing. I picked some stuff up from Amazon. One of the items is knife related, the other one is not. But it is kind of a good idea and something to consider moving forward, as well as let me know what you guys think of the audio currently. This will be the first full-length video that I'm using the new, what is it called? Universal Audio Volt 2 audio interface that my wonderful father gifted to me, as well as a new MXL 990 series mic. I'm still very new to this kind of technology, so let me know how it sounds over your guys' devices. I've had some complaints in the past, but certain things like background noise, I'm still not really there yet when it comes to editing to be able to take out that kind of stuff. So just my channel is growing. Let me know what you think about it, and let's get into it. The unboxing knife is going to be this beautiful beast. This is the Olaton's T052. It's such a shame that this wonderful creation doesn't have an actual name, so it is just a number sequence. I currently have the washers in here that come with the actual knife. So it comes with multi-row ceramic bearings installed already in a nylon cage, but it comes with washers as optional, which I think is really, really cool because I love washers. It's a tight fit, but they are breaking in beautifully. So let's get into this. Alright, so let's do the non-knife thing first. You already recognize the little blue box. Yeah, it's a Migron knife. Cool stuff, right? So let's get this out of here. So this is probably like my third or fourth canister of creatine monohydrate for the summertime. This is some of the best stuff to take because having this as dosed every day, every other day, every 2 days, whatever, just one little scoop in some water or some juice, or even in your morning coffee, iced coffee, hot coffee, your tea, it doesn't freaking matter. I do not get that heat fatigue. Every day moving forward is going to be closer and closer to 100 degrees out here where I live, and it sucks. Definitely, you just step out into the sun and you immediately just want to die, because that's probably the best option for a lot of people. Death, yeah. But this definitely helps with that dehydration and the fatigue that comes along with being dehydrated. Obviously, you still want to stay on top of consuming a lot of water, but this is something that helps really push water deep into your muscles. Yes, it does have a slight bloating effect. Yes, it will take away your shredded tone look, but you know what? You're not going to be passed out and in the ER. You'll be perfectly fine and well hydrated. So glad to have another one of those. I even went as far as subscribing for it on Amazon because it's a cheap freaking product, and I've been using creatine for years, and it definitely works. I live by that stuff. Good stuff for sure. Alright, let's get into the knife. Migron. Ah, man, I didn't think I'd have one of these so soon on the on the channel, but I saw this just the other day, and I went to purchase it immediately. I looked on Migron's site. I know that they would take a week or two to get it to me, but you know what? Something called Amazon exists, and I got it the very next day, which is awesome. And I think Amazon actually sells it for a buck or some change, a little bit less. This is a new model from Migron, or at least a upgraded or a XL or large variation of one that already does exist. And so you're not going to see like any sales or discounts on it because it's a new model. But as we get closer to the end of the year, this will probably be something that hopefully it is well received by the community, and we'll see more variations of this come out, or eventually it creep down into a lower price range. It's not that it's a super expensive knife. It's actually a very, very affordable, what I would consider to be a ultra budget model, maybe a little bit past what I would consider a ultra budget model, because on this channel, what I consider to be ultra budget is 50 and below. And then $100 for something that is budget. That's just me. That doesn't mean I'm rich. Very much the opposite. But that's just what I believe on my channel here. Now, I do have standards for stuff that is overseas production or US production. Things are held to standards accordingly. But with Migron, there are a lot of things that I can count on, and certain things that I love, certain things that I don't like. things that I do love about Megaron is that the majority of their OEM projects or in-house designs like this, they all have T8 construction, typically, even for the pocket clip, most of the time. They also do a tie pocket clip or a steel milled pocket clip, which is cool. You don't always get like the folded over nonsense, but hey, to each their own. Some people like the folded over stuff. It's fine, it's budget oriented, it gets a job done, and it retains the knife in your pocket as a pocket clip should. And this is a perfect example of that. This is having the steel pocket clip, but the steel pocket clips have the T6s. Megaron off their website, and I believe on Amazon as well, do have a pocket clip that is milled tie. It's a beautifully designed pocket clip. I don't have an example of that at this moment in time, but it's a really, really well designed pocket clip, and I do definitely enjoy it because it looks apart and it functions. So best of both worlds. But this in particular, it's just standard bent steel pocket clip, nothing fancy, but it's gonna get the job done. The ramp in and out of the pocket, it's something I can definitely come to count on. But yeah, let's set this down for a second. Let me look at the name of this one because I forgot. It's not the Talisman, it's the Talisman. Wait, Talisman L. Whatever. I guess we could just call it the Talisman. Sure. Yeah. Talisman L. So they do have the regular one. It's a smaller one. I believe the original one was under 3 inch of blade. This is coming in at 3.5 inches, and immediately when I saw those I guess size stats, I was just like, yes, absolutely, I need that right now. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. Oh yeah. Another thing you can definitely come to rely on from Megaron is their beautiful, beautiful buttery action right out of the box. And even then, this will still take some time to break in. All their models, to my knowledge, and OEM projects, like things for AM8 or for some other people, they have ceramic bearings, typically in a stamped phosphor bronze cage, but they are constructed in a manner where they do accept a lot of skiffs, which is cool. So skiff ceramic bearings with a solid cage or the thick washers. I'm a huge advocate for thick washers. I do have a discount code. Everything will be linked down below, yada yada, all that good stuff to get yourself a little discount, right? Every little bit matters. But this is something that I can definitely see being a little bit of a bruiser, one to kick around, and this is good looking. It's very simple. I get it. It's kind of boring. It's very simple. But you know what? This is a wonderful addition to that ultra budget territory that actually feels good, and it's something that would be an amazing gift knife. Like for recently, little holiday that passed, or Father's Day, this would have been an amazing gift for any dad out there or father figure. It could be an uncle or a grandpa or just anybody as a father figure. But even then, this is something that is super, super easy to manipulate. It's obviously very smooth, very well built. There are things that I can count on from Megaron. Now, 3 different variations. There's like an all blacked out, which is cool, super tactical if you like that kind of stuff. There is I believe, a stonewash blade with black G10 and silver satin hardware and bits. And then there is this one, which is the PVD gray blade, PVD liners and clip, and then satin steel hardware. On Megarons, you do have a little pivot collar that's typically steel, which I never really understand why they do the pivot collar, especially on budget, like obviously budget-oriented models like this. But sure, why not? But it really is just a little extra machine piece that they don't really need to do, and it's at their cost. But whatever. Some jimping right here. That's not something that you can get to do anything with. This is just very simple, straightforward stud action. These studs are well away from everything else, so to reverse flick, you could see plenty of room to get that nail underneath. You could even use the skin of your middle finger, thumb. Very, very nice. Now, looking at the studs here, something I didn't notice till after I bought it because I just picked it up so fast, is they're actually domed over. so you don't really have any texture that you immediately contact. You do actually feel the tooling of what looks to be a T6 bit, potentially a T8. Let me get my little bit right here. There's a T8 in here. Let me see what these are. Oh yeah, okay. So if you want to remove the studs for whatever reason, maybe you want to get your own studs, different shape, different texture, larger, smaller, whatever, single-sided stud. You can do that. You can remove them on each side. So you just go and get two drivers, split them apart, do your thing. But yeah, so they're T8 for the studs, which is really nice. I personally don't feel like I'm going to slip off. This thing is very, very beautifully tuned right out of the box. I have no complaints of this at the moment. Now, looking at the rest of it, what's something else to highlight? Oh, look at that. This right here is... we should give a round of applause to Migron for finally bringing some lefty love to a budget model. I really, really do hope that, and I'm a right-handed person, but I absolutely advocate for left-handed people because it's a freaking budget knife. Like, why not? Just why not? It takes them little to no time. It costs them little to no money. But that little tiny detail can make a lot of people happy and get a wonderfully simple design like this into so many more hands. And you know what? Even if that is 10 to 50% more hands, and still 10-15% more in sales. So I mean that's the one thing that's really pissed me off about Migron and a lot of these Chinese OEMs, that they just don't really think about the small details. And on this channel, I sweat the small details, and I care about those kinds of things because it matters. I don't have any money trees in my backyard, and all the stuff that I buy comes from my own, hard-earned time and all that. Just like the rest of you, pretty much. So I review my knives from a consumer standpoint. I shop for things that I'm going to use them for, and this is something that I could definitely see will find its place very well in the average day-to-day setting. Now, maybe this won't be the best if you're like a ranch hand or a farmer or something. Can this be a great knife to use in that kind of setting? Yeah, sure, definitely it can be, but it's probably going to get gunked up pretty quickly. But if you throw some thick washers from Skiffs, you can probably have, a slightly more tolerant pivot system to that sort of working environment, of course. Now the blade material here, let's talk about that. 14C28N, I have had over 40 different knives that I've owned or currently own in 14C28N. Yes, there is a range, HRC range to 14C, but it's good stuff. I don't think I've ever really had 14C28N that's bad or that I would consider bad. I have noticed some soft 14C28N before, and that actually came from Kubi. Yeah, Kubi or KB knives. That was like one of the only brands that I ever experienced like noticeably soft 14C28N. Now from Migron in particular, sick. Good stuff. I can count on it. I have full confidence in saying that. Now, let's look at this thing again. It's a very, very simple, straightforward knife, but they are checking off a lot of boxes for me. Heavy sculpting and contouring of the edges of the G10. You do have, typical sandwich and visible liners. They're not shadow box. They're actually, flush. You do have a matching material G10 backspacer that does have, they actually do have a little bit of a harsher angle on it to kind of give it a little bit of visual flair. I think that's cool, whether that was absolutely intended or not, but I like how it looks. I think it's better than just standoff. So they put the effort in something that, may not matter to some people, but it does matter to me. I think that's really cool. I would much prefer a backspacer, half or full or a third length, than just some steel standoffs. So of course there are threaded tubes within it to have everything come together. But what's something else that I really do like about this? How they executed the plunge grind and sharpening tool. Now let's see if I can get something to. I need like a pen or something. Okay, here let's use this little metal twist tie. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. See how this area right here shines kind of like up here as the light reflects off of it? But from here to here, that is the same thickness of material, so you have a lot to sharpen away. And then you have, you know, a relatively medium to tight plunge grind right there. I respect it. I like it at this price point. I cannot complain, and I don't think anybody else really can. I think that this is an easy home run, and truth be told, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because this is a very simple and straightforward knife. If I have anything negative to say about this, it's probably going to be one of the dumbest things I can probably think of, because when it comes to simplicity, you know, just making, you know, simple stuff like this, Miguron does things really well. The only time that I ever really give shit to Miguron is their crossbar lock knives. They are disgustingly underpowered, most models that I've handled, and personally speaking, I don't even want to risk spending the money on the premium crossbar lock from them, because I know it's probably just going to be the same. So that really does come down to personal preference, and mainly the reason why you guys won't see certain things on my channel, because if it's not being sent to me, then I'm probably not going to buy it. But if it is sent to me, you know that I will come forward with the truth and be as harsh and real as possible, because no one pays me to say, you know, what someone else wants me to say. So that's something that you can definitely come to count on and rely on my channel, definitely. One thing I'm kind of noticing here is that these screws here on the handle, these are more flush, while these ones actually stick out a little bit. I wonder if I can take my bit and see if I can adjust that really quick. We'll do size comparison briefly. We'll do the factory edge. I have pretty high standards for what factory edge is, but I know what it should be. I know what it should feel like. Yeah, okay, so these things are actually cranked down, it seems like all the way. It might just be a tolerance kind of thing. Let's see if there's any wiggle in that. No, that's good. That's beautifully solid. If anything, they probably over tightened it, which wouldn't be a surprise. Up and down, zero play. That is wonderful. Any movement in the pivot? At the moment, no. But I've noticed eventually Miguron does tend to have a little bit of pivot lash. That's usually after a long time, or a lot of fidgeting, or even some abuse. So, what else was I going to look at or highlight? You do have a ceramic detent ball, which is cool. The amount of contact lock up on the liner here, it's good. The liner itself is wonderfully designed. There's no texture to it, but it is actually scalloped on one end. Super comfortable to disengage. This is something that yes, it gets a 10 out of 10 for being able to fidget and engage with all day. Sounds good, feels good, and I don't doubt for a second that if I put some thick washers in here, this won't be a wonderful little knife right here. Now, I suppose some people won't call this too little, but again, we'll get into size comparisons in just a sec. Let's check out the factory edge. It looks good, but Miguron is known for kind of overstropping a little bit. It's alright, you know, it's 14C, super easy to sharpen. Yeah, you know what? This is good stuff. It's good from the factory. I can't complain about that. But what I do know is that this thing will perform 3 to 4 times better once you put your own edge on this. Now, a homemade edge is far superior than anything overseas production can do. For the most part, it really is up to your own skill. A lot of manufacturers like to put edge angles that are 22 and above. I've even seen 30-degree edge angles on some, and I'm just like, why? Who needs a folding axe edge in their pocket? Like, why? You know, these are little folding pocket knives. You're meant to cut and slice things, and I don't expect, you know, what do these manufacturers think that we're doing with these knives? Oh, you know, unboxing one of these and just going through 20 different, you know, copper staples or something and just trashing the edge? No, we're not. At least I hope a lot of people aren't doing that. I know I'm definitely not doing that. But I think anywhere under between a 15 and 19 degree edge would be far superior on something like this. Now, blade stock thickness, while I do not have calipers, that's nice right there. I just noticed that the spine is actually slightly crowned. That's pretty cool. Definitely a little premium touch right there. Comfort wise, that's nice. Jimping's down here. Wish it was a little bit further. That really is just a preference. But the thickness on this thing, it's about average. There's nothing too noteworthy on it. The tip is decently robust. I wouldn't call it dainty, so that's nice. Full flat grind, not a hollow. No decorative swedging or nothing. It's just a flat up there. Last quarter of the blade, or I guess a third of it, of the height overall. But yeah, I think, I think like a 17 degree edge on this would be just freaking sick. So that is that for now. Let's get some size comparisons going. So this is what I would consider to be like a full size compact, I guess. Making it sound like it's a freaking car or something. Yeah. I'm glad I reached for this one. This is, do I know my stuff or do I know my stuff? This is the, what is this? Do I know my stuff? This is the Predator by CMB Made Knives. This is exactly the same length, tip to tail. And that's exactly why I grabbed this thing, because I didn't rehearse, because that wouldn't have been possible for me to do. Here, next we have the Manix 2 Lightweight by Spyderco. It is just a touch over, but not anything significant. The amount of available cutting edge, you get a little bit more with the Migron here, but that's just kind of how a lot of Spydercos go. Less blade to handle ratio. The only other Migron in my collection, and somehow it made it up to a size comparison size knife just because of its insane value. This is running on a crossbar lock, but because of how ridiculously thin and lightweight the blade is, I also have washers in here. I have skiff washers in here. I was able to tune this thing to where I actually enjoy it, but that took a lot of work, that's for sure. But what is this one called? The not the Acri, it's the Vaker, the Migron Vaker. A little bit smaller, definitely. You have about ½ inch more of cutting edge on the big guy right there. I already forgot his name. Let's do something else. Vision FG by Civivi. This is pretty darn close, damn near the same tip to tail. I did go ahead and put bearings back in here because I kind of got tired of the washer feel in this thing. So there's that. What else can I grab to share? Any premium stuff? No, not. Well, I guess this guy. Is this the Monocolor Knives Assault Team Model 1, the titanium variation. This is damn near the same tip to tail as well. And that's going to conclude the size comparison segment. So we did size comparison, we did factory edge, it's good. Let's take the weight on this thing. And before we do that, actually, there goes my ADHD brain again. There is some pretty heavy weight relieving. There could always be more, of course, but they do what they do for structural rigidity and whatever, because again, that's just, yeah. There could always be more, could always be better. Nothing's ever really perfect, but this is pretty close, 4.9. Alright, little dense, but you know what, again, this is a full-size knife, definitely. I don't think anybody is going to disagree that this is a full-size knife. Now, I have been gravitating towards a lot of large knives, and something like the, was it T052, whatever. This thing is actually only a little bit longer tip to tail. It's only a little bit longer, but this feels like a way more larger blade than this does. And I think it really is just the contouring and the shape, and this thing kind of looks like, you know, a curved banana and whatnot. This is a little bit more straight, a little bit more simple. Not much going on in the sense of texturing or milling or things like that. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that this is just going to be another home run for Migron in their, I guess, budget sector. A lot of things you can do with this. You can put a super sick slicey edge on this. You can change out the studs if you don't like how they look. Super easy to remove them. If you're a lefty, you can pop the clip to the other side. If you do not like the bent steel clip, you can go ahead and buy a wonderfully milled and designed titanium pocket clip. They have black coated and then regular raw titanium. But yeah, this thing is coming around, I believe, $54, something like that. Again, it is super close to what I would consider ultra budget knife, and this thing is substantial feeling. This is really, really nice, and I think a lot of people would enjoy this. If this is something that you think that you would enjoy or be a wonderful addition to your user rotation throughout your week or a camping trip or the job site or your truck or car knife, whatever, I will have this link down to my Amazon storefront. It is the fastest, the easiest way to support the channel. I do want to be completely transparent with you guys. I get 3% commission on this particular item, so just know that by purchasing something from me directly through one of my links, you're helping me out, which is a blessing. Any little bit I count as a blessing, and I am forever grateful for the people that do support me and for me to be able to continue doing what I love doing and sharing my opinions on wonderful designs like this. So but I really do think genuinely that this is a home run. I know the last super significant thing that Migron put out in their budget sector was the Mayoral, and the Mayoral was praised by damn near everybody. All the big channels were like, the Mayoral is the best freaking knife design out there. But you know what? Once it got into my hands, I ripped it a new one because I found a lot of little things about it that I was not super happy about. It was stop pin placement. It was, I think some variations of the Mayoral do not have any lefty pocket clip swappability, and then most of the models, the tip was practically exposed after a certain amount of sharpenings, which is very unfortunate. Looking at this thing, the tip is buried well down in there, and I can't say that this is going to suffer any sort of issues like the Mayoral does, because take a look at that. Look at where the stop pin placement is. That is incredible. I love that they did that. And I mention this because, again, on this channel, the little details matter. So that's something you can come to count on from my content here. But I love that they've put the stop pin placement. They didn't do anything fancy. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They put the stop pin placement where it should be. Up here, not down here. So that's it. But yeah, a talisman, whatever this thing is called. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I like it. I'm very happy with this purchase. That's it. In another couple weeks, using this thing, taking it through the rotation and whatnot, throwing some skiff washers in here, I will share with you guys all my findings. I will be doing a disassembly video, potentially a sharpening video, so stay tuned for that. And again, a final thoughts video. I can't really say that my final thoughts video are going to be any different than what this thing is. Something catastrophic needs to happen for me to make any worthy remarks, but as of right now, this is looking like a very, very well made and good promising knife for its price. Absolutely. And again, links down below to whatever I've mentioned in this video. Go ahead and check it out, and that's pretty much it. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because I have plenty more videos and content coming you guys this way. And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.